What you're gonna watch in this video that we're getting ready to do here is me putting this bridle onto this horse that came in. Um, that's the reason that she's here. She had learned how to shut her mouth and not take that bridle. So we put her through some things. We did some things groundwork wise. We did some things in her mouth. Right now I'm just rubbing her tongue. I'm waiting on her to open her mouth quietly and get her to where she would take that bridle without a big issue right there. And I would imagine that in time, if it's an experience like this, you know, consistently, she's going to get even better about it than that. So anyway, I think you'll enjoy that. If you like the content we're putting out, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Dennis here at Capital Training and Shoeing. We got a horse that just came in, and here's the story that I have. She's 15 years old, new to the lady that owns her, and she said that she showed me how she was holding the horse's head to put a bit in, and that the horse wanted to get high-headed and just didn't want to clamp her mouth and didn't want to open up to take the bit. So that's part of what we're going to work on. But what I noticed right off is the mare is real defensive. And when a horse is in a defensive state of mind, it's hard to do anything with them. They get in the habit of getting hold of you and pushing on you all the time. So it's, in her mind, she doesn't have to do anything that I want her to do yet, because she knows she outweighs me. She knows she's stronger than I am. And she knows that all she's got to do is tense up and she can run through anything that's going on. So I'm going to work on that end first. I know she's here to get good about this end, but we're going to start on that end. And the reason being is I've got to have some tools. I've got to have some tools of communication that will become effective. Tools. Right now she's standing there. She's kind of braced up to me. She's not doing anything terrible. She's standing here pretty quiet, and that's all fine and dandy. But see her creeping in there. She knows that if she gets closer, that she's in charge, and she's not sure yet about surrendering her ability to dictate whatever goes on. So let's see if we can help her to get comfortable first. She don't know me and I don't know her. So I'm going to start off here maybe with a little different approach. That mare's 15 years old. Okay, so 15, and compare that to human years, she's probably, you know, somewhere between 30 and 40 years old. And you take a person that's 30 or 40 years old that has never really felt like they had to do anything anybody ever told them to do, and then they meet with somebody that's going to tell them what to do. It makes them mad for a little bit. It really is offensive to them, and that's okay for a minute. But it's going to be a short minute, because right now she keeps going and testing that outside boundary. She got her shoulder pushed in on me. She's backed up to me in a defensive posture, and she's got her feet planted like I'm standing here defiant. So this is an outward appearance to me of an attitude of entitlement. So when the attitude of entitlement is present, in my opinion, when it comes to doing it with a horse, maybe people too, I don't know, I'm not a people trainer, I'm a horse trainer. But when that attitude of entitlement's there, that's what has to be addressed effectively first. So let's see if we can get something working here. The reason that I touched her to start with is I don't want her to start off instantly thinking that she's got to fight me. But I need for her to just move back. And all I did was raise up some energy right there, and she politely stepped back. And she's thinking right now. She's thinking that's a different feel than what I've been accustomed to here lately. And that feel being the energy that I applied was from a distance. You see her move her feet right there from that distance. And then as soon as I saw that feel have its effect out there, she stepped into release. So we're in a situation here of perspective change. And she is pretty convinced that at this point, the human is somebody she can push around, somebody that she can brace up to and get her way in a more forceful way. But now she's just got to experience a human here that offered a feel, let her respond to that feel in a quiet way, and she's thinking, I kind of like it back here. This is a good place to be. So I'm in no hurry to do hardly anything here. I'm gonna ask her to move over, her shoulders over to her right, to my left just a little bit. Again, that energy wall that I'm creating here is in the swinging of this lead rope. She's not responding, so I'm letting rope slip out of my hand just a little bit, and from this distance I can reach out and start to get a response. She's still not yielded to what I wanted. She's just braced up to me and pulling backwards. I'm looking for her to move her front end to the, she almost there. She made it. Now when she made it though, she made it in an attitude of, I'm gonna get away from this guy. Now she's got her head up, she's tense. She said, I don't know why I had to go through that. Whenever I braced up before, I've been able to push the person around, but this person is not budging, and this person in fact is coming there. And she took that nice response that time and started to leave, but she's running off. Even though she's at a walk, she's running off. So I'm gonna step up here and move that hip just a little bit. And she's just braced. She's got her feet planted, got her head up against that lead rope. There's what I wanted right there. Not to face up, but to yield that hind end. So I've got hind end and front end on two different tracks. The front feet are on the inside track right now, and the back feet are on the outside track. And I need her to, that's what I need her to do right there. When I raised up towards where my left leg would be if I was on her, she yielded her body to the right there and stepped politely away from me. Now, when she's moving, she's just moving, so I need to move that hip just a little bit more. You see what that does? It draws her attention back towards me so that I don't have to pull on her to get her stopped, okay? Believe it or not, this is the beginnings of putting the bridle on. You know, if I can't get her thoughts to her feet, I'm gonna have a hard time doing anything with her. So I asked her to move, and she thought about it. She tucked her nose and she thought about it, but then she said, I think I'm gonna stay here. There, that's what I wanted. But see, that next step she took then was a step in fleeing. So I'm gonna shorten up here just a little bit and desensitize her to fleeing and give her a place to go like that. So I can hold her like this instead of having to hold her like this, okay? And step up there and move it. There, that's nice. Now I want that front end to move. That front end needs to step over. She's braced up to me. There it is right there. She needs to stop here. She's just running through me. She's got her nose stuck up in there. She's hollowed out in her body. Generally, when you see a horse that is highly developed in this in this throat area right here, they're used to surviving with their nose up bracing against either the handler on the ground or the one that's on their back. And what we need to do is is show her how to use these muscles on the top side of her body in a way that will produce softness. So I'm gonna raise up here and get that step over there. That's better. I need to get her, I asked her to stop 5 steps ago and she just raised up, gonna chest right through me. She took that step to test me. I don't believe he's serious. Yes, I am. When I say yes, I mean yes. When I say no, I mean no. And I'll always give her this place to go. Now, with her, nice, very nice. With her, I started off letting her feel that soft place first, so that she had a place where she could go retreat to that felt good to her. And in the retreating is not pushing. That's all. For her to lay down her defensiveness and to get soft like that is helping me to be able to put that bridle on. Now, we'll go up here and address this head just a minute. The young lady that owned this horse told me that the way she was getting her head down was come up here between her head and kind of push up here. And when they're in a habitual state of mind of pushing against pressure, when you get them in sort of a headlock like this, it's going to produce more of a tendency to go up. So here's what I have found to me works better. I don't really want a horse getting their head too low when I'm putting the bridle on, because if it's much lower than it is right now, then you're back here and the headstall, that's the bit kind of dangle, and then you got to bring it back and try to find the mouth and then hope things work out. And then they'll use something as an excuse to all of a sudden raise up while you got your head over the top of theirs, and they crack you underneath the jaw, and while you're laying here on the ground, they go over there and eat grass. So let's see if we can find a safer way to get across here. So I need to have the ability to tuck that nose. This hand's really not doing anything. I'm going to do it with the halter right here, and I'm just moving it back and forth, and she's pushing against my hand. It's all right. Remember, she's 15, had this sense of entitlement probably her whole life. So when she finds something where there's a little bit of pressure, she's going to be resistant longer than most would be. A horse that hasn't ever had anything done to him, never experienced what she has proven to do, would have already softened by now. But she's just, I don't care how long you do it and whatever you're going to do, because she said, I know I can wait here longer than you can keep doing that. But she ain't met me yet. I'm looking, see her getting higher. That's all right. It ain't any easier up there. It's a little bit tougher up. Oh, there was a little bit of try right there. Yeah. With that little bit of try, I had something to quit to. Let's see up there. Was it got a little more try right there? That's all I needed to do. Now I need to have the ability here to get my thumb right there in that spot where between the front teeth and the back one where there's no teeth, and get a hold of that tongue up there and let that horse experience licking on my thumb, licking on my fingers. I also want to have the ability to cup my fingers around the bottom chin, just like this, so that in conjunction with me getting her head to go down like that, I can bring her to me just a little bit. If I can get her to just curl around me with her shoulder off over there. See, when her head goes right, that shoulder's braced into me on this side. When her head comes left, there's a little bit of arc in her body right there where the shoulder's away from me, and she's looking this way. This posture is a posture of agreement. The other posture is one of defensiveness. So I'm just trying to show her that when she agrees with me it's much better than not agreeing. And when I reached for her mouth right there, she got tense. She came up. No need to have the bridle anywhere near just yet, because if she won't soften up here, the bridle's just going to make it worse. She knows how to defend herself against taking that bit. Okay, now I'm going to aid myself here just a little bit with just a little bit of salt right there on my thumb. And let's get back. See how I'm barely asking back. She needs to move those feet. When I tell her to move her feet back, she needs to move those feet. So let's get that face coming down. Let's get her head coming this way just a little bit. I'm sticking my thumb in there, just about to her. I'm on her tongue right now. Oh, all of a sudden she found some salt on my tongue. That tastes much better than just the salt I had on there. So a little more incentive, and I'm not going to stay there long. Let her be. Oh, that's nice. Move this halter just a little bit like this. Okay, now let's see what we've got with the bridle. The first thing that I want to do when I'm putting the bridle on is get that head stall through the nose like that. Now instead of going between her ears, I'm going to come beside her head right here. Okay, and then I'm gonna move that curb strap out of the way. Now I'm just putting my thumb right back there on her tongue, and she just opened her mouth and took that bit just as quiet and soft as it could be right there in that manner. So I'd imagine that what was causing the problem was the headlock effect. We hadn't established respect yet, and we hadn't allowed trust to have much say in the matter either. Now this won't be something that you'd want to do every time naturally, but when one has had difficulty accepting the bridle, this is just honey. I put just a little bit of honey on that bit. Okay, just a little bit there. And then we're going to add a little salt to that honey. Now think about this from your own perspective. Where does your mouth start watering more? When you're sitting in the principal's office at school wondering if you're going to get in trouble, or if you're in the courtroom wondering, what's going to happen there, or when you just walked into a restaurant or in your kitchen at home or whatever, and you smell all that good food. You can't sit there very long before your mouth starts watering. See, it's probably watering now as you're thinking about those pleasant experiences. So that's what I want to create here. Instead of the bridling process being a position of torture and fight, let's see if we can't change that to one of I can't wait to get that bit in my mouth. I'm barely moving my thumb on her tongue. She gently opened that mouth, gently opened it up. And all I did was I lifted that bit up where it was able to head over those teeth. And then I pulled the bit up with her mouth open into her mouth with my right hand up here. So my left hand and right hand were working together. I'd like for her to lick, and she's holding that bit right now, which is a good sign. I like for a horse to do that. When I take a bridle off, I'm gonna hold it up like this, and I'll let it bounce there a little bit if they're hanging on to it, and pretty soon she'll open her mouth. I'm just moving that bit across her tongue. And what I'm wanting her to do is hit that lick response. If her head starts to go up, I'm going to pick up on the bridle and keep her from lifting her head, or keep her from spitting the bit out. You see it right there? It actually, she opened up and let it out, and then I just lifted it right back up in. While she's kind of licking on that bit, I'll let it down. Now, when a horse has had trouble accepting a bit, something you can do is when you take your bridle off after you've been riding, you could put a little salt on that bit and then let it hang and dry. And then when it comes time to put it back on, then that horse is going to find very good. Now then, one other thing I did that I didn't mention that I did before I started was I loosened that headstall up quite a bit. I suspected that it was maybe a bit snug for her. So I just let the headstall down so that when I put it over her ears, it was just going to be a lot more comfortable experience going off over her head. So what I've tried to do here the best I can is establish. I asked her to move her feet, and she said, "I don't believe you." And I established some respect by getting her to move her feet when I asked her to move her feet first. Then I established some lateral movement away from me. Right there, when she's doing more than I'm asking, I'm coming up here and taking her power away at the moment by yielding the hip like that, and creating an opportunity here for me to let her find that fleeing is not an answer, that getting soft is an answer. She cannot raise that head up and go through. She can't just dictate what's going on here. All she's doing is going back to her survival instinct. I'm setting the boundary here. I'm setting the boundary here. I want her to be parallel to me right here. When she gets parallel to me, right there, and quits testing that boundary forward, move that hip out of the way, block that shoulder off. She needs to come forward and go to her right. You're just bracing that shoulder there to the left, pushing into me, raised up against me, holding her head up, not responding forward. This is a defensive posture of hers, head braced up in the air. There's the right answer, and going forward. I'll let her go forward again. I'm going to let her have a little more distance away from me. I want her to get stopped. She needs to quit bracing up into my hand. Running through that shoulder. Take that hip away. I'm being a little more aggressive right now because it's time for her to have a little more respect. I've shown her where it's peaceful. I've shown her where the good spot is, and in spite of that, she raised her head up, hollered her back, and going to push through. I'm not going to just stand there and watch that. So when she shows that defensive sense of entitlement, I'm going to correct that with more solid boundary with freedom between it. So it's the same exact thing that I was doing. I tried to do it as soft as I could and give her every chance I could, and she proved that she was going to take full advantage of that, which is what she's been accustomed to doing. And I just will not tolerate her doing that. I want her to be responsive. I want her to be quiet. I like that. I really like that. She yielded right there to a boundary. I'm going to get it down to her feet and have her take just one step to the right here. Come on, she ain't tried yet. She's about there. She's right on the edge of the okay agreement or not. There we go. Now, that's a huge step right there. That's a huge opportunity for her to experience one more time. That peace comes in responding. That when she reacts and she hits that I'm gonna move attitude, there's no peace in that, and there's peace in this. So I'm gonna let her just stand there. Go up here and take that bridle off one more time. Move that bit across her tongue just a little bit there. I'm not pulling down on the bit, I'm moving it across her tongue so that she can lick on that bit there a little bit. I didn't let it come all the way out. I'm letting her lick on the bit right there. And now I'm gonna bring it back up in her mouth. Nice. Very good. So she was able to open her mouth and run her tongue in a soft manner there. And that's a place that's gonna, hopefully, with the taste of that salt and the taste of that honey and the experience that she had getting it in, that she should start really looking for the opportunity to take that bridle. Now again, right there, she didn't fight it, but she did not open her mouth until I put my thumb inside of her mouth on top of her tongue, and then like if this part of my hand is her tongue, when I opened her lips on the side of her mouth, my tongue was about that far away, my thumb was about that far away from her tongue, and I waited until I got it right up here. These fingers right here are around her bottom lip. So I've got my right finger on that bottom gum over here. Okay? Why do I do that? The reason that I do that is to help me keep her from looking off to the right. I would prefer her head here than too low. So to me, this is just a perfect height. Now, if you're, a child or you're, not very tall, it's all right for her to be a little lower. You'd be comfortable for where you are. But then this thumb, when I get it on top of that tongue there, right there, and I'm just massaging her tongue, trying to see her just politely open that bit and open that mouth and start licking on my. There's your opportunity to lift that bit up over those teeth. If you try it all to force that bit in, she's gonna get a case of the lockjaw and the snapping turtle syndrome, and you can wait out there till it thunders until she still ain't gonna open her mouth. But if you do that, I believe it's gonna work out pretty good for you. So anyway, there's our bridling demonstration on a 15-year-old self-entitled Palomino mare. Thank you.